So hello and welcome to another episode of Hugh's Software Mentoring Group. It is Wednesday, May 27, 2015. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. How is everyone today? Doing great? Summer's coming. If you're above the equator, I guess. Well, great. Glad to hear everyone's doing great. Well, guys, I don't really have a prepared lesson, so today's going to be a question and answer session. So I hope you've all come prepared with your questions for me. Because I am deep into some development right now, and so that's why I'm not doing other things. I'm just really just about 1 or 2 days away from giving you the new VidWorks version 2, which you're going to just freak out about the new features that I put into it. You're just going to love. And you're going to be very happy that you have access to this very cool program. And I kind of went over some of it last week, and I've got actually more new features coming. I'm not going to go over them today, but you'll have everything soon enough. You know, within, I'd say 1 to 2 days, you're going to have VidWorks version 2, all new members, all of our members. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm pulling some 18 and 20-hour days trying to get this thing done for the relaunch, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. So I'm pretty tied up. So what I would like to encourage you to do, all of you here are members of our software mentoring group, so all that means I would assume you're using the software, and if you have questions about how to use our software or anything like that, please go ahead and put your questions in the chat box right now. Or if you have some topic that you'd like me to address, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm here for you, so take advantage of this time for you. Looks like no one has any questions at all whatsoever about anything. So I guess everybody's doing great. Oh, here comes one. Here's some question. It takes you a little time to type. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Debbie Foster, do you still have training on setting up a website from scratch using your curation software from the beginning? I think that's kind of what ICC Keyworks is about, Debbie, and there's definitely some training in there. I have my WordPress training, but that's too old. I need to do a new one. In fact, Debbie, have you seen the new member site yet? There's tons of training on the new member site, and it's a lot better organized than the old one. And I've said this for a while now, but I still owe you guys the core training. The one section, which is on the left, is not filled in yet. But if you go through the there's a whole ton of other training in there, but the core training I have not done yet, and I owe you that, and it is coming, and that's what you're asking about, I think. Because the WordPress training that I did before is now pretty much obsolete with all the things that they've changed in WordPress. So I have to redo the whole core training for you, which is definitely on my list of things to do. And I do apologize for not having it up there yet, but it is coming for you. In the meantime, is there some kind of question that I could answer to help you get started. Spider Spanker is still cool. I like Spider Spanker. I bought Ryan McKinney's, I think it's called Reach Spy, and I haven't seen that. I haven't even tried it yet. So it's sort of, I think it's supposed to be a you know, replacement for Spider Spanker. I haven't tried it yet. But Spider Spanker, I like it. I like it a lot. Um, Joy. What's the best way to find a new theme for an established website? I've already crashed my site once and had to reinstall my backup and don't want to do that again. Okay, that's a good question, Joy. And personally, what I will often do is I will create basically a clone of the site under a fake name like beta.mywebsite.com, and then I would copy everything to the new site and make a copy of the database too. So I would copy the database. If you know your way around cPanel and all that stuff, it's not that hard to do. If you don't know your way around it, it could be daunting. The thing that you need to do is set up a new host name, or you can do it in a subdirectory, but I suggest doing it on a whole different website, like I said, test.mysite.com or something like that. Copy all the files, copy the database, and make a duplicate of your database. And on your test site, make sure you're pointing to your new database, which is actually a copy of the original one. And then you do all your experimentation on that test website, Joy. And that way you won't screw anything up on your live site. And when it's just exactly the way you want it, then you switch the host name to that new site and you turn off the old site. And make sure you have your domain updated. Now, if you're not a technical whiz like me, that could be not the easiest thing for you to do. So it seems like that's some training that I should give you, Joy, like a special training session for how to do that. You think that would be helpful? Basically, how to clone your site and set up a test site, and then when you're done, how to make it the real site. So that's going to be on my list for you, Joy. Okay. I'm not going to do it right now because it would take some preparation. I could be sort of noodling around with you guys. I don't want to do that on this call, but yes, that's on my radar now. That's something that will be helpful for you. So I will create that training and I'll give it to my whole list, but it'll be specially for you, Joy. And I'll try and get that done within a week for you. Goran. He says, "Hi Hugh, I remember you had a WordPress plugin increasing the page views by forcing visitors to click forward to other pages. Can you please remind me what's the name of that plugin, if it is still valid and updated?" I believe you're talking about Pageview Exploder, which is still valid, and we still have that, and it still works. I've been trying, to sort of herd the cats on that one and get developers to help me update it and make it responsive and stuff. It's kind of a complex plugin, so I seem to be stumping programmers, and I could do it myself, but as you know, I'm really busy with getting VidWorks ready for you. So, um, but there's a ton of new features in Pageview Exploder 2.0 that aren't even in the training, right? I mean, there's some amazing new features. I think I've gone over them here a while back, but let me just see. First I want to do is just go to find the, I think I made a nice slideshow on this. I'm trying to remember. This isn't the custom one. I'm not sure. I made a custom slideshow. I made another slideshow, but the slideshows seem to work. You know, it works quite nicely, actually. I was making a slideshow with some of the pictures that I did for our training here. This is one of our live calls that we did, and then just a couple of other things to test, and it works very well. And you can actually now put anything you want into these ad slots on a per slide basis, which is pretty cool. So, and just to clarify, Goran, doesn't necessarily force people, but you know, we know that slideshows kind of invite people to keep clicking, so that the way the Pageview Exploder works now is that it does load the page counting stats every time somebody clicks to a new image. Now, we have this new thing here called the Ads Manager. And with the Ads Manager, you can, on a per image basis, you can set the ad. And now I have everything showing AdSense for each one of these. But if I wanted to, I can switch it to an image ad or switch it to custom code. It could be any kind of code that will now load. It could be a video. It could be ClickBank. It could be really anything you want to put into the ad slots. The ad slots go on the right and the bottom like that. And you can also make that ad set default for every slide on that. So if you want to put, say, an image ad, it has an image and a link on the right hand side, and then you can do the same thing on the bottom. You put your image link, the image goes here. You can, I think you're supposed to be able to load this thing and get an image. I'm not sure why that's not working. I have to check that out. But you put your URL to your image in there, and you put the link that you want people to go to when they click the image on here. And you can put a title here for you. Then once you do that, then that image and that link is going to display for that selected slide. And there are a couple of other new features in there too. I haven't done the documentation, but I've got somebody actually working on the documentation now for us. Okay, so that's available to you in your membership, Goran. If you haven't gotten your licenses lately, you might not have gotten your license for it, but now there's like a huge list of software in the membership now. So if you haven't got that license, just contact us at customer service and we'll generate all your licenses and send them to you. Okay, Grant has a good question here. What causes jerky video playback? I created a move video, a .mov video clip on my iPhone, but when I put it into Camtasia, it played back jerky. Yet two other video clips that I created played fine in Camtasia. Not knowing how to fix it, uploaded to YouTube, then downloaded it back as an MP4. It worked in Camtasia then. Well, that's a good question, Grant. I do know that I can't tell you why your iPhone movie looked bad in Camtasia, and then specifically, but I can explain to you that uh, there are like three different parameters in videos that issue will depend on, and one of them is the frames per second, which is how many times the image updates in 1 second. The typical frame rate is 30 frames per second, or 29.97 frames per second. There's also other frames per second that you'll come across, like 25 FPS, 15 FPS, and they're all different, basically frequencies of refresh on your screen. Now, if you try to take one that's at, depending on the platform you're working with, but if you take a video of a particular frames per second and you try to stick it into another structure of frames per second, then what happens, you have some hits and misses, whether the actual refresh of the high rate refresh is going to be included when factoring into the lower rate of frames per second. So you can end up with a really jerky movement if they don't match. And I've definitely discovered in my video research that if you take a video of a particular frame rate and you try to apply it to another structure of a different frame rate, you can certainly end up with a jerky video. There's no question about it. Why that particular video works on iPhone but doesn't work on Camtasia but then works on YouTube again, well, I do happen to know that YouTube, I believe, has one of the best conversion algorithms available. So when I make these recordings on GoToWebinar, the conversion algorithm is known as a codec conversion or compression decompression algorithm. It's called a codec. You have to have the codec on your computer in order for the particular video to be decoded and displayed on your computer correctly. So if you don't have the codec for that particular algorithm, you won't be able to watch that video. So what we're really talking about here is codec matching, Grant. So if your move video on your phone is created with a particular codec, which has a screen size, a frame per second rate, a bit rate, or the amount of data that's allowed to be streamed, aspect ratio, and so on. Those are different parameters of a video. So if you try to take a video with a particular codec or setting, even if it's the same codec but different settings, and you try to apply it to that other system, you're going to have some hits and misses on the frame. So that's why you end up with a jerky motion. So what you have to do is match the frame rate and so on and so forth. Frame rate, bit rate, aspect ratio, screen size. And if they don't match, then you have to convert them. And that's what YouTube does that makes it work after you bring it down. Because let's say you're uploading a 25 frame per second video, and if you just take that and you split it out into a 30 frame per second video, you're going to miss, or what's going to have to happen is it's going to divide 25 by 30. And then, whatever the difference is, you have to try to either fit in between the frames, or you have to make new frames that basically synthesize what the video would have been if it were 25 frames down from 30. So you're kind of synthesizing some frames in there to, how do we say, to synthesize the same motion of a 30 frame per second down to 25 frame per second. Now, if it's a 15 frame per second, it's not that bad because they're only subtracting 1 frame for every frame. So 30 frames per second, converting down to 15 frames per second, just means that every other frame will be omitted in the final video. However, if you have like a 30 frame per second video and you're trying to fit it in a 25 per second frame project, then that software is going to have to rewrite all those 25 frames to make them look smooth for the same of 30 frames. I know this is a little bit verbose and weird, but I hope that explains it for you. I mean, it could take a long time to really explain the whole thing, but that's basically the problem that you're facing. So that's why, because you said that that video is the only one that you saw that had an HD indicator on it, Grant. So that means that if it's an HD indicator, that means that the iPhone is trying to cram as much data into that one video as possible, because that's what HD is all about. HD is about huge screen size and very granular resolution, very, very fine detail. That requires a lot of data and almost always going to be a 30 frame per second. So if you take one of those really super high def videos and then you try to put it into a low def environment, it's going to chop that video up quite a bit, and probably why you see the jerky motion. Okay, I think I've probably beat that topic to death now, so if you've got another, all right, Grant, so you said I was the man to ask. Well, I'm glad hope that helped explain it. I have been working with that stuff a lot lately, so yeah, I guess I am the guy to ask for that now. What else? What else we can talk about today? Anything? Anybody else got any burning issues that they need to get solved? Anyone? Because I am here for you. I'm here to help you. If anything that came up during the last week that maybe something that you came up against, and at the time you said, I better ask Hugh about that, but then maybe you forgot. And today, this is the time to remember it. Anybody want to ask me about anything? So that means everyone is like doing great, I guess. Everyone's like just moving forward, problems solved, issues resolved. And that's good news as far as I'm concerned. I just got back from a road trip, Dennis? Cool. Yeah, or they're so far behind they don't know what to ask, Kathleen, right? Grant says, I hate to be so dependent on YouTube, but they do seem to be able to straighten out my videos. They even turn my upside down videos right side up. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, you know what, I was mentioning, I always record these videos from GoToWebinar. and I use the GoToWebinar system, and then it converts it to WMV, but it's still a bear to work with. So I've just gotten into the habit of always uploading my GoToWebinar videos to YouTube because YouTube converts them so well. Not only does it convert it to be fully viewable the way other software doesn't do, it also gives my viewers the option to view that video in up to 5 or 6 different resolutions depending on what they want. So I just love that about YouTube. And then I can have my VA download all my videos from YouTube and store them on S3. So I can actually use YouTube for a conversion algorithm. And I do that frequently, especially for GoToWebinar, because those recordings are very hard to manage, and YouTube really makes it easy. Sometimes we even just use it for the conversion, so we'll upload a video to YouTube and then download it and then delete it from YouTube, just using them for that function. So yeah, YouTube has some of the best video engineering that I know of for that. Debbie asks, when you have issues with your theme, can you take it out and put it in again? Well, you always have to have some kind of theme on the website, right, Debbie? So you can't just like remove the theme, but you can change your theme, right? You can change it and then change it back if you want. It depends on what kind of issues you're talking about, I mean, and also what kind of theme. It's obviously some themes are better than others, and there are a lot of what I would call dead-end themes out there, which means it's a theme that somebody created for money, for WSO, or for some offer, and then they had a launch and they sold it, and then they made a lot of money, and people are still using the theme, but they don't update it and they don't support it. There are a number of those themes out there, and I call them like dead-end themes because they're not going to be really addressing the issues that need to be addressed because WordPress changes so much. And you're talking about 2014, the ephemera widget. I don't know what that is. Does anybody know what that is? I'm not really familiar with it. Does that mean you're using the 2014 WordPress theme? Debbie, I actually like that theme a lot. I've been using it here and there. That's a very cool theme, that 2014, because it allows you to put those huge background images that are really nicely responsive. So one of your clients is on a dead-end theme, Grant. Yeah, it's too bad about that. I get calls from John Pierce all the time because the Textifier, people are having trouble making it work with these dead-end themes, and it's really a PITA. I go on there's nothing really wrong with our slider plugin, but these themes are just so poorly assembled, that things go wrong. But I really like the 2014 theme, Debbie. That's one of my favorite WordPress themes. I don't know what the ephemera widget is. I started building this website on the 2014 theme at beyondparanormal.com. I've been doing this like monthly training on my curation software. And so this is 2014 theme, and I really like the way that it allows you to have this huge image across the top. The computer that I'm broadcasting from has a very tiny screen, so it's not really showing the best, but I really, really, really like the way this works in 2014. So I don't know what the ephemera widget is, but like she says, look in widgets, please. So, okay, let me look in widgets. Let's look in widgets. Alrighty then, widgets. "2014 ephemera." Okay. Now, see, I've never used that before. Suppose I could just throw it on the sidebar and see what it does, but oops, hold on. Let's just throw it at the bottom here and see. I don't really use these types here, so I'm not going to probably show anything, but yeah, Grant, there's a lot of editing going on those older themes, pre-responsive, pre-mobile-geddon. So yeah, I don't know about that widget because see there I don't really see that even showing up because I don't have those kinds of posts. I haven't used those different kinds of posts. And Debbie says that when she has a video on the sidebar, the widget itself goes light and does not take. Well, I don't really know about adding a video on the sidebar because that's not something I generally do, is add videos on a sidebar. Unless it's as if for an ad or something. But I usually just feature the videos on the post. So probably, Debbie, when you try to add a video to the sidebar, it's going to have some kind of a style conflict or CSS conflict with that widget. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really something that I can help you with because number one, I don't use that widget. Number two, I don't put videos on the sidebar. And I don't know how you put a video. How do you put a video on the sidebar of this theme? I don't even know how you would do that. But my guess is that that's creating a conflict. Also, Debbie, it's a post. So you make a video post and you expect it to show up on ephemera, but then ephemera doesn't show it correctly. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. I wish I could help you with that, but it's probably pretty obvious by now that I don't know nothing about that. Just not something that I use. I would say, keep playing around with it till you get it to work. That's my motto. It's what I do about just about everything. So I would say, yeah, keep. You could try, but Debbie, if it's not working, it's not working. I mean, do you have other plugins? What I would suggest is disabling all your plugins and then see if it works. How about that? I mean, taking out the theme and putting it back in, I doubt that will solve the problem because it's the same files. Turn off all your plugins and see if it starts to work. Probably it's just a conflict with a JavaScript library that one of your plugins has. That's what I would guess, or a CSS file. I mean, I go through this constantly with WordPress because, WordPress is kind of like, every plugin that gets created for WordPress is created by a different programmer, or different programmers or whatever. There are certain conventions that are necessary to be followed by the programmer in order for the plugin not to mess up other people's stuff. And I've discovered that not only is it not very easy to do, but doable. But not only is it not easy to do, but a huge number of programmers that are creating plugins and selling them as WSOs and all that stuff, they don't really follow the conventions to be polite to other systems that might be installed on the blog. All they want to do is sell their plugins, so they're not really worried about loading the jQuery library at the right time, loading the CSS at the right time, like only loading a library in the admin section when you need it in admin, and don't load it on the public side, things like that that these programmers don't think about, they don't take into consideration. And I will be honest, I was guilty of that too until I really went through a lot of trials by fire and getting this thing, figuring it all out. And now I can go to, like when John Pierce calls me and says, hey, one of our customers says the Textifier is not working on their blog, and I go to check out their blog, and 9 times out of 10, it's just that they have some crappy plugin or theme that's just not loading the libraries correctly and is blocking other plugins from working. So I'm going to say that, I'm going to venture to say that that's probably the issue that you've got going on with that. And I'd like to know the outcome of that, if you can turn off all your plugins and see if you can get that thing to work without any plugins or any external code from anyone, and trying to get it to work on a completely bare bones WordPress 2014 blog. And if it doesn't work in that instance, then we can say that WordPress 2014 blog has a bug. I'm about 90% sure that it's going to be some plugin that you've got on that's causing it to fail. Okay, next, what's our next topic for today? Okay, great, Debbie. Awesome. Let me know how it goes with that. I'd be interested to find out. What else are we going to talk about today? Yeah. Well, it's been 3 years, folks. 3 years. Today is the 27th, and May 24th was the anniversary of my very first product launch, which was ICC Pro, Instant Content Curator Pro. So it's been 3 years since I launched my first public software. Boy, it's been quite a 3 years. We've definitely come a long way in the 3 years. Yeah, Michael, thank you. Thanks for the congrats, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joy, Kathleen, Michael. Yeah, so things are looking really good. And the products that I'm producing now are definitely light years ahead of Instant Content Curator Pro, but that's where it all started. And you can definitely see the thread of my thinking, throughout all of my products, how I organize things and so on and so forth. So I had hoped to get you, glad to have you around for the ride too, Grant and Kathleen, Joy, Michael, Debbie, everyone. Cool, Kathleen, you got in contact with me through that first product. I think a lot of people here have got to know me through that first product, and I'm just really glad to have y'all here, everyone, Kathleen, Debbie, Grant, Joy, Michael, and everyone else who I'm not naming, but that's awesome, and it's a tribute to me that you've stuck with me for these 3 years. So I really am super grateful for that, and I hope that my the things I share with you and stuff are able to express my gratitude. I'll try to continue to over deliver. I haven't over delivered with the core training yet, so I apologize for that as we're still waiting on that. But in terms of product development, I'm over delivering. Wait till you guys see the new VidWorks. You're absolutely going to flip out when you see it. It is so light years ahead from VidWorks 1. So VidWorks 2. Any luck, you're going to have VidWorks 2 within a couple of days. And that's for all of my members. It's just crazy, the new functionality that I got in there. That's a nice comment, Kathleen. Thank you. She says I'm for real. I'm not salesy or pushy. She feels like I always provide so much value and that we're friends even. And I feel the same way, Kathleen, that we're friends. And I'm glad you feel that way. And sincerely, indeed. Well, that's great, guys. Well, I could go ahead and, wax poetically for a while, but maybe the best thing would be for me to cut you guys loose now and let everyone get back to their day. And if you know how to reach me if you have any other questions for me or anything I can help you with. Enjoy. That's a great request that you made about that training for how to set up a test site, for your theme and stuff. So that's on my list to do for you guys. And you can look forward to VidWorks version 2 coming your way, within a few days from now. So thank you for your patience on that, but I believe you're going to find it's well worth the wait when you see the crazy new features that I've got in there. Okay, guys, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it a day for today, unless someone has another pressing issue that they need me to deal with right now. Awesome, Michael. So that having been said, I guess I'm going to go ahead and bid everyone a very fond adieu. And that's awesome, Joy. Thanks for that sentiment. I really appreciate it. Goran, great to see you here again. Everyone else, Debbie, Kathleen, Michael, Grant, Dennis, everyone on the list that I haven't mentioned. Great to have you here, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, guys, have a great day. Hugh out.